If you want to sing like a note more powerfully, but it's up in your range and you're like, I just can't get the power all the way up there. I need to work on more chest voice because like you just learned, your chest voice is the source of power, right? Like, okay, if I want to add more power, I need to work on my chest voice. Well, actually, a lot of the times, again, not always, but a lot of the time, it's not actually a lack of power that keeps you from singing up there. It's actually a lack of flexibility to help you bring the power up into these notes with you in a chest dominant mix voice, in a mix belt. Hey Voxstar, and welcome to From Singer to Artist. I'm Lara Chapman, award-winning singer and songwriter turned viral vocal coach and the host of this show. At VoxTape Studios, we help singers from all over the world level up their voices by teaching them the 3 fundamental skills all singers need: technique, awareness, and artistry. Whether you're looking to go pro or just develop your voice for fun, my team and I are here to help. Check the link in the description to book your first session or grab some of our other resources. Alrighty, are you ready? Let's get started. Whenever I'm meeting with a new singer, or at least a new to us singer, I always make sure that they understand vocal registers, because literally everything else that you're going to be doing is going to be built on top of your vocal registers. All the riffs and the runs and the riffing and the big range and the belting and all of that stuff builds on top of your vocal registers. So that's what I want to talk about today. We're going to go through the different vocal registers, how to identify them, what they feel like in your voice, how you can access them as well. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom of the range, of the register range. And by the way, there are different opinions out there. There's different mythologies out there. What I'm using here is what I've been doing my entire life and what most singers and vocal teachers out there use as well. But there, like I said, there are different mythologies and different terms for kind of like the same thing that we are describing here. Okay, so at the bottom, we have your chest voice. Your chest voice is literally your speaking voice, at least in 99.9% of cases. Your chest voice is your speaking voice. So hello, how are you? My name is Lara. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy and excited. I'm excited to talk to you about your registers, right? Like that right here, that is my chest voice. That's my speaking voice. And because it is your speaking voice, it is most likely or more likely that your chest voice is the most developed register in your singing. It just kind of like depends on the singer, always. Everything always depends on the person. But in most cases, your chest voice is a little bit more developed than the other registers. By the way, the name chest voice comes from where you feel the resonance. So if I'm just speaking down here, or I'm singing like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, I can feel the vibrations down here in my chest. It's not, that doesn't mean I'm singing from my chest, because your vocal folds are in your throat and not anywhere else. So you're always singing from your throat, but it's where I feel the vibrations happening down here in my chest. That's where the name came from. This is what some people also refer to as their natural voice. Like some people say they have a natural voice and a fake voice. That's basically what that means. Your chest voice is your natural voice, and the other register would be your fake voice. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But your chest voice is your natural voice, your speaking voice, and that's why it's easier for most people. Now, if you're like, I can't really do chest voice, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to access it, at least not in songs, what you can do is imitate Santa Claus. So if you feel like you're lacking that power, imitate some Santa Claus and then try singing the phrase again. So let's say Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, because I just used that example, right? So usually that would be sung more like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. But let's pretend I want to add a little bit more power into that. I would go, ho, 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 ho. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Obviously, very different kind of sound. That's my chest voice. An extreme version of my chest voice, sure. But that would be my chest voice. So imitating some Santa Claus can really help you get into that. Another thing that you can try is speech-based singing. So that would be basically speaking the lyrics, because again, your chest voice is your speaking voice. So we're trying to get it as speech-like as possible to make it more chesty. So twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. I'm literally like first just speaking it, and I'm trying to get closer and closer and closer to the actual melody until I'm singing it, but I'm still in my chest voice and not twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, which is not your chest voice. Where do you hear chest voice most often in songs? Well, that's usually in the verses, because the verses are usually a little bit lower than the choruses or the bridge in a song. So usually the song starts out a little bit lower and therefore more in your chest voice, but obviously that's not a guarantee. Like, that's not always the case. It's also possible that the chorus is in a chest voice as well. You can't really be like verse is always in chest voice, chorus is always in something else. You can't really go off of that. You have to listen to the singer and be like, okay, does this sound like their speaking voice? Does this sound powerful? So here's the thing. Your chest voice is the source of power, okay? If you are lacking power, you're probably going to want to work on your chest voice, because that's where your power comes from. It's thicker. Your vocal folds literally are shorter and thicker. So your vocal folds, they're shaped like a V and they stretch long when you sing high. And in order to get that stretch, they have to get thinner. But if I'm singing lower, they're thicker, meaning I can get more surface touching, essentially, which gives you more power, more volume, more I don't want to say resonance, because that's not really what that is, but it just gives you that more kind of sound. Right? So that's why your chest voice is the source of power. Okay. And just for future reference, your chest voice is the color blue. I mean, it's not actually, but I have a little analogy that I like using that every time I tell it to someone, they're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. So this is one part of the analogy. Your chest voice is the color blue. Another register, we're going to skip the one in the middle. We're going to go to the top one. That's your head voice. Your head voice is up here, right? So if I'm speaking up here and I sound maybe like a little bit like Mickey Mouse, I'm really bad at impressions, but that up here, that is your head voice, right? That sounds completely different. Some people would refer to this as like their fake voice, right? Because it feels like it's not really a part of them. It's like, oh my God, I can make these weird sounds, but it doesn't feel quite natural, right? It feels like a fake, in quotes, voice. So that's your head voice. It's usually higher. It's usually lighter. It might be a little bit brighter depending on the singer, right? So that's your head voice. It's not usually how we speak, right? Because of that, it's usually the more or the less developed register in our voice, right? So in most cases, we need to work on head voice a little bit more than we need to work on chest voice, but it really just, it depends. It depends on the singer. It always depends on the singer. This is just general advice, but that's your head voice, right? So if we go back to the Twinkle Twinkle, that's usually how we would sing that song, right? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Hello, right? That's your head voice. Twinkle, twinkle, compared to twinkle, twinkle. Very, very different. So that's your head voice. And we sing lullabies in head voice. When we speak, if you're trying to like get into a head voice and you're like, I just can't access a head voice, well, you can pretend like you're speaking to a child or a pet, like, oh my God, look at you. Aren't you just so cute? That's your head voice up here, right? You can also pretend like you're an owl. That can also help you get into that head voice if you can't access it just yet. I especially see this with male singers. They're really solid down in their chest voice and they cannot access their head voice at all. And so, doing that owl can really help, like the owl impression can really help getting into the head voice. Now, should you be working on your head voice, even if you don't ever want to sing high? The answer is yes. Because your head voice is the source of flexibility. flexibility. So your chest voice is the source of power, right? Your head voice is the source of flexibility. And so if you want to riff, if you want to expand your range, even in a powerful belt like voice, you still have to work on flexibility because you need the flexibility to get the power up into these notes. If you want to do vibrato, if you want to improve your pitch, if you want to do crazy like pitch jumps, things like that, that all comes from vocal agility. So even if you don't want to sing up here and pretend like you're Mariah Carey, then you should still be working on your head voice. And that's a mistake that I made early on in my career. I stopped completely working on my head voice because I was like, chest voice, that is my thing, baby. And I'm going to keep singing down here because I love it. Completely stopped working on my head voice. Worst mistake, or one of the worst mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in my journey, in my singing journey, but always work on both. Always work on both because it's going to make sense in just a minute. By the way, head voice comes from, you feeling the resonance, the vibrations up in your head. I'm not very much of a touchy-feely kind of person, so I don't really feel the vibrations. Again, the sound always comes from your throat, whether you're singing up here or singing down here. It all comes from your throat because that's where your vocal folds are. It's just chest voice because of vibrations, head voice because it's up here, okay? Vibrations technically are up there, okay? Your head voice, for reference, is the color yellow. So again, chest voice is the color blue. Yellow is your head voice. Now, if I am going from chest voice directly to head voice and I slide between the two, it's going to sound like this. Right? Hear that crack smack dab in the middle of my range? If you've been experiencing this, then you're already like, okay, I can already access my chest voice and I can already access my head voice, which is awesome. I love that for you. Now we need to explore that third register in the middle, the mixed voice or mixed voice. Same thing, just a slight difference, but in the name. But that is when you're blending, you're mixing the chest voice and the head voice together. It's not a third separate thing. It's not like red or gold or whatever other color that you can think of. It's the color green, right? Because when you mix blue and yellow, if you paid attention in elementary school, you know that if you mix blue and yellow, you get the color green, right? That is your mixed voice. It's not a third separate thing. It is a blend of the chest voice and the head voice, which is what makes mixed voice a little bit more complicated and a little bit more difficult to do for most people because they don't really feel that big of a difference. They're like, well, am I in chest voice now or am I in a mixed voice? Or am I in head voice or is it more of a mix? At the end of the day, they're just labels, okay? And yes, labels can be very helpful, but we don't want to obsess over labels so much so that they just leave us confused. At the end of the day, what's important is that you're getting the sound that you're looking for and this one's important, and that it feels good. The sound that you're creating, that feels good is just equally as important as it's actually sounding the way you want it to sound, okay? But what you want to call that, I don't really care. So here's the thing with your mixed voice. Depending on how much blue, how much chest voice, and how much yellow, how much head voice you're using, you're going to get a different shade of green. More blue and just a drop of yellow is a very dark green. A lot of yellow and just a little bit of blue is going to be a very light green. 50-50 is going to be a middle sort of kind of green, right? It's the same thing for your mixed voice. We can be chest dominant. We can be head dominant. We can be 50-50. It's a spectrum of mixed voice. It's not one specific thing. It can be many different things. Again, depending on how much head voice and how much chest voice you're using in your sound. So again, going back to Twinkle Twinkle, right? So if I'm singing in chest voice, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That would be chest voice. If I'm singing in head voice, it's twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That would be like a head voice, right? Then if I'm doing it somewhere like in the middle kind of mix, it could be something like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So it's not as powerful as a chest voice and a pure chest voice. And it's stronger than just a pure head voice. It's somewhere in the middle. And then it can be a more chest dominant mix, or it can be a more head dominant mix. Again, like I said, it's a lot of different things, which is why it's difficult sometimes to pinpoint exactly what kind of sound, what kind of register you're using right now. And again, it's just labels. Don't obsess over it. Just focus on the sound that you're getting and the feel of that sound. If it feels good and it sounds the way you want it to, awesome. Don't worry about what label you want to give it. Okay. So that's your mixed voice. Now, in order to get to any kind of sound that you want to get, meaning you have to develop a mixed voice, right? Like you have to develop these different shades of green. It's all about balance, right? And all of us, we have natural strengths and natural challenges. Some of us are a little bit more bottom heavy. Some of us are a little bit more top heavy. I'm more bottom heavy than top heavy by a lot. So it just really kind of depends on the person. And so let's say you're like 80% of the way there with your chest voice and like 20% of the way there with your head voice. That means you would want to work only 20% on your chest voice and 80% on your head voice, so that we can start bringing them closer, like on that same level, rather than, the chest voice being like super great and your head voice being, it needs a lot more work. We want to kind of like level it out so that we can bring balance into our singing. So if you want to develop a really solid, awesome mix where you can sing any shade of green, then you have to work on balance. So if you're bottom heavy, work more in your head voice. If you're top heavy, work more in your chest voice. I'm not saying you should completely ignore the thing that comes more naturally, more easily to you. Please don't do that. We always, again, it's balance, right? We always want to work on both, but we just want to try and get them as close as possible. And again, going back to the colors, if you have a lot of blue and just a little bit of yellow to work with, you're always going to be darker green. And it's going to be difficult to get to that 50-50 and lighter kind of green, and vice versa as well, right? So it's all about balance in singing. And unfortunately, most of the time, not most of the time, but often what I see in singers is that they're not doing that they're working on what they think is going to help them, but it's not actually what's going to help them. So for example, if you want to sing like a note more powerfully, but it's up in your range and you're like, I just can't get the power all the way up there. I need to work on more chest voice, because like you just learned, your chest voice is the source of power, right? Like, okay, if I want to add more power, I need to work on my chest voice. Well, actually, a lot of the times, again, not always, but a lot of the time, it's not actually a lack of power that keeps you from singing up there. It's actually a lack of flexibility to help you bring the power up into these notes with you in a chest dominant mixed voice, in a mixed belt is what also a lot of people refer to this as, right? So it's like, okay, identify which one you need to work on and then work on that as much as possible. Those are your three main registers: your chest voice, your head voice on top, and your mixed voice in the middle, a blend of the chest voice and the head voice, which is why other methodologies out there only have like M1 and M2 and no like third thing. But if we use like chest voice, head voice, mixed voice, we have three registers. Some people also say that you have vocal fry at the bottom. Vocal fry is this. Right, that creaking sound. And so some people consider that a vocal register as well. I don't really care if you want to call it a vocal register or not. Whatever tickles your fancy is fine with me. And then whistle on the top. Some people say that, like Mariah Carey kind of whistle. I'm a terrible whistler. I'm not even going to make a fool of myself and try. But Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff up there, some people refer to that as a register as well. Again, if that tickles your fancy, love that for you. Whatever is fine with me. Now, I do want to talk about tone, because some people think that falsetto or belting, that those are also a vocal register. And again, at the end of the day, it's just labels. So, I don't want to be like, that is wrong, even though technically it is wrong. But it's whatever works for you. If you're like, belting is a register, cool. If that works for you, awesome. who am I to tell you don't do that, right? But technically it's not. So a belt is a kind of tone, right? It's not necessarily a register, because a belt can be just chest voice, but not all belt is. It's kind of like a rectangle and square kind of situation, right? Like not all not all rectangles are squares, but all squares are rectangles. That's how it goes. Hold on, my brain was just like, is that how it goes? Yeah, I think that's how it goes. So that is kind of like a similar situation here with like belting, right? Like belt is a part of your chest voice. It's that upper register. Like if I'm singing like, and Whitney Houston, right? Like if I'm singing that up there, that would be a belt, which is very chest dominant. Some people also say that a belt can be also a very strong mixed voice. Some people say it's a mixed belt. Others say it's still just a belt, but it's more of like a chest dominant mix, right? So again, this is where the lines get very blurred. But again, like a belt technically is not a register. It's a kind of tone that we create, which is also why your head voice doesn't necessarily need to be weak. Right? Like a lot of people think that the head voice is a very weak thing, but I can sing like a, yeah, that's my head voice. It's a pure head voice. It's not even a mix. It's just a, yeah. It's head voice with a lot of twang on it. I'm changing the tone of my head voice to make it sound more powerful. But that's just the twang that I'm adding on top of that more narrow kind of vocal tract to get that kind of brightness in there. But that's still just head voice. And now falsetto, that's one of those things where it's like, what is falsetto? Some people say that a male's head voice is falsetto. Some people refer to falsetto as head voice, like they're interchangeable. Others say that falsetto is a breathy head voice. Some say that falsetto is higher than your head voice. So you know, falsetto is used in a lot of different ways out there. But what I'm referring to here when I'm using falsetto is I'm talking about a breathy kind of head voice, like a, when did it end? All the enjoyment, I'm sad again. Billie Eilish, right? So, that's a breathy head voice. That'll be falsetto, right? It's a kind of tone quality. It's not a register. Yeah? Makes sense? Cool. So again, belt and falsetto and twang, those are not registers. Those are tone qualities. Chest voice, mixed voice, and head voice. And if you look at the extension of it, the vocal fry and the whistle voice, those are your registers, with again, chest voice, mixed voice, head voice being the most important ones. So what do you do with this information? What is the important part about this? Why are we talking about this? You need to know this kind of stuff and then identify in your voice, where are you, like what comes more natural to you, what's easier for you to do, and then work on the other thing as much as possible. Like spend the majority of your time there. Again, because at the end of the day, it's all about balance, right? If you want to sing any notes in any way, in blue, any shade of green, or yellow, it's about balance. So identify what's easier, what's more of a challenge, work more on what's challenging, and still work on what's easy. Again, we want to have both so that the two can start coming together. And we'll create another episode on, just mix voice and, like how to mix effortlessly, smoothly, seamlessly, no cracks and all that stuff. We'll create just an episode on that specific topic on its own too. But again, just know, in order to get there, in order to get to all shades of grain, it's about balance. And it starts with chest voice and head voice. You cannot get to a perfectly balanced sound if you don't have head voice, or if you don't have chest voice, or it's not as well developed as the other one. You need both. Now, of course, I have an exercise for you so that you can practice these register changes. This exercise is inspired by Rocket Man by Elton John, and it's mostly going to explore your chest voice and your head voice so that you can really feel the difference between the two, because again, that's where it starts. Like that's how you're going to get to a mixed voice. You need to develop these two first and really feel the difference and start getting comfortable in there. And there's a little bit of mix in there too. But without further ado, let's just do the exercise so that we can actually explore these different vocal registers. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Just let your voice transition between chest voice and head voice. I don't care if it's cracky in between. Just access both the chest and the head voice, no matter how you get there. Well done. Oh, it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Alrighty, great. I hope this was helpful with, feeling the difference between your chest voice and your head voice and like, okay, I see where we're going with this. Keep exploring that and then start marrying the two together in your mixed voice in the beautiful, all different kinds of shades of green. Let's do it. But again, like I said, we're going to focus on chest mixed voice in another episode here very soon too. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, thank you so much for singing with me. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me a message on Instagram at VoxTape Studios. Happy to help out wherever I can there. And don't forget to check out our resources in the description of this episode as well. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.